Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the DC Alliance podcast here at the GUA. I'm your host, Clay, and we have a bit of an episode today. You know, every single week, me and Travis are always like, man, it's going to be a slow week again, a slow week again. But I will say, Mondays are great for DC, apparently, because they just drop it usually the day of or right before. And so it just makes our podcasting lives super, super easy. So, of course, with me, like always, Travis, how you doing today?
Pretty good, Clay. This is the summer of George right now for me. I finished school on Friday, so I've been, while working as well, but still cut out a considerable amount of time. So I've been reading comics, chilling out, playing video games, watching TV. And I'm excited, like you said, they kind of dumped a nice little image that like slides in for our third segment of the show here today, and I love that. I also may have watched a DC animated movie that's releasing early. That's releasing tomorrow. I may have watched it a day early, and you'll hear my thoughts on that along with Travis Snell on Wednesday. So look for that to drop there.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I am super excited for it. I like whenever a new universe is introduced into the animation, I'm always excited to see how they go about connecting it and everything else. And we kind of know that this is the next step in that connected universe as far as the and now no, don't give me any kind of look or anything. I don't want any spoilers. Don't tell me. Don't say it. I'm going to watch it on my own. And yes, I know, Chris, you're not going to buy it 3 times. But unfortunately, I will. I will buy the digital part 1, the digital part 2, and then I will buy the physical combined edition, which will automatically give me a digital copy of it combined anyway. It's just the way I do things. I don't know why. It just is. I need to stop buying the physical and just go ahead and keep the digitals. But that's just me. But of course, before we jump into anything tonight, we got to do I can't even talk tonight. The paperwork, like usual. Of course, we are a part of the GUA, which means that we have a plethora of shows for you to listen to throughout the entire week. Of course, that lineup starts with the World's Finest True Believers on Monday. Today, an episode dropped that I absolutely loved. We talked to some awesome creators for another creator spotlight, talking about a book called Everyone is Tulip. Go check it out. It has some euphemisms about social media and how all that works. There's a tropey kind of situation with like, hey, wanting to like hit it big and moving to Los Angeles, but it does a really weird turn. But I loved it. I absolutely loved that book that we talked about. So go check that out. Of course, we are live every Monday night right now. And of course, our show drops on Tuesdays. Then the very next day is superhero discussions, just like Travis said. Hopefully soon you will be listening to that Long Halloween Part 1 with both of the Travises squared. And
a little note about it too, Clay. Superhero discussions is permanently shifting to Wednesdays. Marvel Alliance has bullied us into submission. Bullied me. I'm one single person. They bullied me into submission, and we're sticking. I'm just kidding. With the Disney making Wednesdays Marvel days, it just seemed like it worked out perfectly. So I gladly stepped to Wednesdays, and it kind of works out because we'll be covering Rick and Morty on superhero discussions. Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
Chris, it's official. We all know you have the shows on Wednesdays now. It's already announced. I don't know if you actually like. I will be honest. I was listening at 0.15 speed today at the last Marvel Alliance, and I was listening to most of the stuff that I wasn't there for because I was going in and out last live. And I don't remember if y'all talked about it. I'm pretty sure you did talk about how the shows are permanently going to be on Wednesdays now. And if y'all didn't talk about it, I know that Snell did over at Gateverse. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. So I think it is official. I think it'll be fine. We're just going to give it to you. Well, I mean, Hines is going to give it to you. Everything will work out. But of course, after superhero discussions, we have Katie's Day, of course, Thursday, Slice of Film, and Star Wars Alliance with Nathan and Katie. Now, I do want to go ahead and say, Katie, I want to go on and talk the trilogy that we're planning on talking about. You know, we still have Split. We're doing the M. Night Shyamalan trilogy, as well as there was a proposal, and I don't know if you'll take it. Me and Sarah said we wanted to go on and talk Colossal on Slice of Film. That is a hilarious movie with a huge twist. I'm not going to spoil it because I want Katie to jump in there blind and watch that movie. Of course, after that will be Marvel Alliance Thursday nights live, with the show dropping on Fridays, talking Loki. I am loving that show, by the way.
Oh my God, amazing.
Absolutely loving it. I'm able to wake up pretty early and watch it before I go to work. Absolutely love it. And also, dropping Fridays, talking on Star Wars Alliance is The Bad Batch. Been loving that as well. There was a really big turn this last episode. I want to see where it's going. And then, of course, the weekend is the comic books with the comic book roundup with Jim. But yeah. Oh, also, because we are a network that runs on ads, we are an ad-supported network, but also we are an audience-supported network. So if you don't want to listen to ads, you can always go to our Patreon, because we got to keep those rings recharged. Because $1 will just support us, of course, and then $5 will get you that early feed for all of our shows. It looks like, I keep checking on it. I keep checking on Comixology. It looks like the Ronin book is still scheduled on time, and we should be getting that in August. So yes. I'm really hoping for some great things near the end, because we have 2 more issues on that, or 1 more?
2.
We have 2 more issues on
4
that.
And 5. 4 and 5.
Yeah. So go check all of that out. And I don't know. I think we have 1 more issue on Heroes Reborn, and then who we dub the comic book crew. We'll talk about Marvel's Heroes Reborn event that has been going on with Jason Aaron. So that is another thing on Patreon that is coming at you pretty soon. So let's go ahead and jump right into all of this juicy content. Travis, where do you want to start?
Got to go with the Titans teaser, Clay, because we don't want to forget it. It's been, I want to say, the longest. It kind of was overshadowed with those set photo leaks of the last few days. So I want to give that a nice little look at there and see, because there's a couple things that I really want to talk about from this trailer. Well, teaser. I can't call it a trailer, but they did say they were going to drop a trailer, and then they changed that to teaser. So,
I mean, regardless, it's technically still a trailer. So
I have a gripe with teasers.
You know, it's just kind of, you're nitpicking at that point.
Well, when it's going to be released in August, and this is June, and they're waiting to hold the trailer to July, I'm like,
well, it's the same way that not Marvel, Netflix does their stuff. The whole point of their marketing is, why get excited about a movie a year in advance or a month in advance? Why not get excited the week of, so that way you don't have to necessarily remember for a month, oh, I need to remember to watch that show.
That's true.
Instead, it's, hey, this is coming out in a week. And boom, you can already remember that Friday. Let's watch it, you know? It makes sense, but I know that some people do love the hype train, you know? So it's all a matter of, like I said, nitpicking. The trailer overall, though, it was a very short, 120, I want to say, 1 minute, 20 seconds, something like that.
I don't even think it was that long.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit shorter than that, actually. Man, I want to be excited for this. I keep teasing the people that made Red Hood's helmet. It's like, for me, I don't like it. I know it's Red Hood, but it just looks like Robot Man. Greg at Super Silver Servants this past weekend told me that it looks like an Iron Man helmet. That can also be very, very true. But also, I'm glad that it's not just some, hey, you guys are mean to me, I'm going to be Red Hood now because I'm emo. No, it's actually, hey, I'm going to get the crap beat out of me with a crowbar. And because that's something else. If they trick us and making us think, oh, is he's going to get the crowbar, and then again flip it on us, and he's not actually getting the crowbar, I think I would be really, really, really upset.
Oh, that's completely justified. I hate when they make you believe it's one thing, but it's terrible. So I'm trying to find it here because I need to get the exact moment that I want to talk about, because you're kind of hinting of it there too.
The fact that we possibly might be getting a Joker.
Yes.
Officially.
Okay. Perfect. Here we go. Okay. Let me share this now. Share my screen here. Because this is what there are two things. Chris, first I got to show Chris.
No, he was electrocuted. Yeah, no.
He'll be electrocuted. Let's hope not, Chris. So yes, this right here, Clay. This is one spot like that. I mean, who leaves their victims like that?
Yeah, exactly. And some people are saying, oh, this is a nod to Jerome, the Joker of Gotham, which apparently is the greatest Joker that we've gotten on screen before Joaquin Phoenix. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch Gotham at all. I quit after season 1, so I'm excited to see these moments in the season, but I was even listening to Brent and Ray on Fans this evening, and they were talking about it. And Ray, I felt like he wasn't necessarily attacking me, but I kind of felt attacked at that moment because we were joking around, and I was saying, on Super Civil Servants, like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, fool me 3 times, I'm not doing it again, But am I really? No, I like these characters, I like this universe, and I'm gonna be a big idiot, and I'm gonna watch the season and still be disappointed, like all of you Flash fans on the CW right now,
I know, you're not putting me in a bad mood. Not with this teaser. You're not talking about the Flash. First off, I'm with Snell, unfortunately, on this. I loved it first, and now the more I look at it, the more I, kind of a little bit more in the vein of it.
It looks like a Fortnite costume. If you look at it, if you look at the picture that was like, hey, here's the big reveal, and we saw like a video, and then all of a sudden it was a still photo. He looks like a Fortnite character. I'm sorry, he just does.
I wouldn't go that hard on it, but the other things I'm with you. I'm frustrated with the finale of the first 2, but I love Nightwing. I love everything they've done with Nightwing in this, and this still has a lot of promise. I don't know how they're going to execute this with the whole Blackfire. Will this what's going to be the big bad? Is it going to be what happens with Red Hood, or is it going to be Blackfire, or is it going to be both? And are you going to be able to handle that? I'm not confident in that, so I'm a little apprehensive, but I'm going to watch, like you said. And like I said, I love Nightwing and Starfire. I think they're both done great. Beast Boy, if Beast Boy does not transform into something other than a tiger,
that's what I wanted to bring up next. So I'm not entirely sure how budget goes, if they got an increase of budget going to HBO Max, since they have been on DC, where they were on DC Universe for both seasons. So going to HBO Max, do they get a price increase on that budget? If so, Beast Boy needs to turn into something else.
Not just one thing. He needs to turn into like a snake, a bee or a butterfly. Like there's so many things.
Well, no,
Like
like
I'm not
I
asking
see
to turn
these.
into a dragon or anything, or
I
even an
see these
elephant.
shows like, and don't get me wrong, the whole shtick for WB and DC ever since Hamada got into power was, hey, let's make really good films with a really cheap budget. That's what they were wanting to do. That's what they did with Aquaman. Well, kind of.
Aquaman was in production before
Yes.
Hamada, so that kind of
Shazam was one of the ones that they kind of pushed. Birds of Prey, uh, you know, those kinds of productions. I am watching, so I haven't actually finished it technically. Uh, what was the show on HBO? It was My Dark Materials, which is, I think, based on the book, The Golden Compass, I think is what it's based off of. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody who is listening. But they have this gimmick in the show that there are animals that talk, they transform, they do all sorts. It's very fantastical, but it's on HBO, meaning that the same studio is giving a budget to these shows that can have these CGI animals, and you aren't going to give it to the one character that is supposed to be transforming into hundreds of animals. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Not at all.
I've been frustrated with that from the beginning. Like I said, I'm not asking to transform him into like 100 different animals, but just give me 5 or 10. Come on, you can get used to that. I know it'll cost a pretty penny
Like,
for CG, but like
also
you said, HBO Max.
in the same vein, okay, they're not always going to be fighting every single episode, right? We
No,
know that. But let's say, a really big thing in the cartoon, and I understand people are like, oh, that's the cartoon. It's not supposed to be an HBO Max show, blah, 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 blah. But one of the big things that Beast Boy always did to comfort Raven in the cartoon is he turned into a dog. He was basically a service dog. And I don't know if you can like make any kind of like innuendo with that, but either way, he was a service dog in that sense of like, hey, I'm going to be here as a dog for comfort. If you need to pet me, hug me, do whatever. Same thing you do with any other dog. So like he could do that for the characters. It doesn't have to be Raven, but any character in the show. Very simple. You either put a real dog and just like CGI it green, or you do a CGI dog.
Yeah.
Simple as that. When it comes to scouting, he can be a bird, and you can do it very, very simple. You can CGI the bird, and then off camera, just like you hear him like, landing or transforming or whatever. Make it as simple as possible. At least show us there's evidence of him transforming into more than just the damn tiger.
I want to see more transformations. If I'm being honest with you, you can do it. It's just the amount of money it's going to cost and time. But these aren't like CW show where they have to get 23 episodes out in this week to week production type thing. They have a bit of time. They've been working on. I'm pretty sure they were filming Titans last August, so they've had some time. So
yeah.
I don't want to hear any excuses. That's something that I'm really looking for. We didn't see anything really with Dana or Raven, nothing like concrete. It's just a bit of dick. You think I said this in the chat that we talked. Do you think we see Batman at all?
I don't think we see him in costume.
Okay.
I think because there was a moment where we saw Bruce, Alfred, whatever you want to call him, all bloodied in the manor, and then it like zoomed out and you saw the crowbar. I think that there might be a moment that like even that might be a dream, which like kind of irks me in a way. Yeah, there is going to be plenty of excuses. Yeah, it's WB and DC. No,
it's just I just don't know why you can't have Batman in a suit. Like if you preach multiverse, it doesn't.
I will say this: they've never done it before. Batman has technically been in a WB show.
At Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was also in this show in Titans first season.
Yes, but he wasn't really. It was very cloudy. It was like
There was a couple half decent shots, especially when he at the end with Starfire.
uh,
I think it was half decently enough that's all I need, Clay. I'm not asking for a big chunk, but you're putting. They're going to visit Batman, aka
when you have
Alfred the Second. Alfred the Second.
I'm sorry, if you have one of your worst DC shows come out with the best Batman costumes at that time, like, I'm sorry, like, you are doing it wrong, which is very typical for DC and WB. Like, if you go back and watch those first 3 episodes of Birds of Prey, which is where I think it's only the first episode, but you see Batman, and that is a legitimate suit. And I think it has some nods to like Val Kilmer's suit, or maybe even just Keaton's suit, to be completely honest.
I have to check that out. It's been a while since I've seen that.
It's been a long while for me.
But yeah, we're I guess from this Titans teaser, we're apprehensive, but we're still going to watch regardless of how bad we're burned.
And I think what we should do is we'll review the first episode.
Well, it's 3 episodes are dropping.
Okay, so we'll review. How about that? If we can commit to 3 episodes each time, so that way it's not on every single week, because even with our schedules, I feel like it's going to be a little bit harder to talk about it.
Let's what we're going to do. We're going to take that idea, and if we watch the first 3 episodes and we absolutely love the season, we'll talk about the episodes as they come. But if we're still just like middle
apprehensive,
we'll build up another 3 and do it like that.
Okay, yeah. I'm game for that.
Because like if I really love the first 3 episodes, I'm gonna want to watch the 4th episode and talk about it when it drops. So that'll be torture waiting for another 3.
But along with this trailer, we actually got a first look at Barbara as the commissioner, having a conversation with Dick Grayson. It looks like. Now, this was something that I thought was very, very interesting, because I don't know if you know this, and I'm sure we've had plenty of conversations in the chat for you to know it, but the actress that is playing Barbara only has one leg due to an accident. I can't remember how long ago it was. It was 2010, 2014, somewhere around there. They had to amputate her leg. If you look at this picture, I have zoomed in several times. It doesn't look like they put a prosthetic on her or they CGI'd her. It looks like whatever is going to happen in show is going to only have her have that one leg. I think this is awesome. And the reason being, I believe in the article that I read when doing research on her, said that she is not one for prosthetics. She is in either a wheelchair or in crutches. So this means they wanted her to be as comfortable as possible, and they weren't forcing her to put on a prosthetic. I have worked with individuals that have needed prosthetics before. There is a little bit of pain, or sometimes a lot of pain, that goes into wearing some. So I am very glad that they did not force her to wear a prosthetic if she didn't want one. So.
Yeah, props there, and just props for like selecting her. But you could have easily gotten it right just having a regular normal actress portray that. So it's just nice to see that. Rare on WB's, but this is WB TV, I guess. So
yeah,
I'm excited. I love the look. I love the Barbara Dick relationship, and I wonder what that's going to do to the Dick and Corey relationship as well.
Now, I just saw this comment, Chris, saying Marvel Alliance holding the line every week with our shows. Well, it would be nice if we also had a company that was holding on to the IP that was competent enough to actually make good content. So Bravo for you, Chris.
Yeah,
Bravo for you.
weekly show all planned out. Nice. After this one ends, another one begins, and so on and so forth. And that must be so frustrating to cover as a show as a host. Like to have all that laid out for you, so simple, and not not have to question anything really. Just wonder what awesome thing you're going to get next.
So this wasn't like huge news. It was just something that just popped up on my feed. James Gunn was doing a Q&A, like he does. He does them all the time. He does it on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever he finds it more convenient. And somebody said, "Hey, James, the most important question ever. Does the Suicide Squad have a post-credit scene?" And he responded with, "I hope this isn't the most important question, as I think the movie itself is what matters most. But yes, it does." So the Suicide Squad is confirmed to have a post-credit scene. I can assume, and see, I want to say that I can assume that it might be a gag and that it's funny or whatever. But also, I kind of hope that it teases something more.
We've never seen. No, that's not true. Sorry, they did that once with Suicide Squad. They teased Batman coming in. Was that post credit? That was post credits. Batman coming in and getting the fall from Walt Waller.
Yes.
So that's the only time they've done a post credit scene that's teased something else. I'm not counting Justice League. Because that's something never panned out either. So that makes sense, Clay, to think that. But I go with your gut and your instincts there because it's James Gunn, and I think it's going to be a gag post credit.
Yes, I want to say that it is, but I've said this plenty of times. It does look, and I'm feeling more and more convinced every single week that that Gunn actually had like no strings when it came to making this film. So I feel like he can kind of do whatever. And he has made serious movies before, guys. Like I want you guys to like Samuel Jackson has said in his interview for Glass. There is there are more movies than this Marvel bleep. I love that. I love that interview. I absolutely love that interview. But he has done more movies other than just Marvel. So, and yes, they do have comedy. So that's why I feel like he will move more into that range when it comes to Suicide Squad. But either way, this has always been a movie that has kept my eye on it, especially with the reveal of Starro. I think is very, very interesting still. And because of that big of a reveal came out in the trailer, I do think that there is something more that he will tease.
Well, it's our first DC movie that we're going to review together on this show, so I really hope it's a good one. I don't want it to be. I think it will. I think I'll enjoy it, but not going to have any preconceived notions.
Yeah,
and just excited. I guess this is the best time as any to take our first ad break. Listeners, we're at Ad Support Network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. We're going to give you a quick 3 count, and we'll be back shortly. 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Clay, what's next on the docket?
Next on the docket is quite possibly my favorite thing to come out of this weekend because, my God, there is a reason why I'm wearing this shirt tonight. We got a teaser for Supergirl. Just very simple, the same thing that Muschietti has been doing on Instagram, just very, very close-up designs of what possible emblems and costumes could look like. And then not even a whole freaking 2 days later, we see hanging on freaking wires Supergirl. She looks amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I didn't see it the first time you said it in the group chat, but the more and more I looked at her suit, it does actually have the slickness and aesthetic of Amazing Spider-Man. with Andrew Garfield. Was it you who
Oh,
said
okay.
it?
No, it was not me. I was
Okay,
like,
I think it may have been. If it wasn't you, I can't remember who it was. It was either you or it was Tony. I think it might have been Tony at that point. I can't remember.
give the man his credit. Give the man his credit.
Because there was also and because the first photo we saw was from the front, and you saw her with the emblem and everything. The second photo we saw of her was actually her backside, and she like was holding her hands behind her back, kind of just waiting for the crew to get ready or whatever. The bottom of her shoes look almost identical to that of the bottom of Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man.
It could very. I love
Shoes.
that costume too. I loved it so much.
So I absolutely adore this. The emblem looks great. The feel of the costume looks great. A lot of people are saying, dude, she is Supergirl, but she has to be Laura Lane Kent. I have a theory, and I want to drop it by you.
hit me with it.
So this is we're hitting into multiverse territory. What if this is an Earth that Henry Cavill's Kal-El never made it to Earth?
That is a distinct possibility, but I also, and honestly, it just light bulb went off, literally. There's a new animated movie geared up to come out next year.
Yes, it is Injustice. It kind of is adding up pretty quickly. I would totally be okay with that. And Chris, you are completely right. So Muschietti's sister does not want Barbara is her name. Does not want us to be sharing these photos. She actually put out like, "Hey, we're trying to make our movie. Please don't share this." But at the same time, I'm thinking here, hello, like, what else were you expecting from quite possibly one of the biggest movies you were creating for this IP? Like, I'm sorry.
And like it happens for every movie in both franchises. Look what, sorry, make sure there's no cameras there. Do what Marvel did. They hid, what's her name? Elaine. I can't remember who she plays now. Drive me crazy. But they hid her completely. So you'd have to do it if you knew this was going to happen. It happens with every movie. So I'm not the thing about sharing the photos. I think it's a bit much because they're out there now. It's not like David Sandberg. We'll talk about that late at the end. David Sandberg handles it a lot better than pretty much every other director.
Now, again, everybody's going to have to remind me of what this technology is called. I keep forgetting the name of it. But if they were smart, they would be looking into the technology that they've been using for The Mandalorian and what is also being used by, I want to say there's somebody else who is using it. Oh, the person who is making Ant-Man and Quantumania, I believe is also using, is it called the Vision or something like that? I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the fishbowl type filming. So that way you don't have to go, you basically film remotely and not on
the volume. There you go.
The volume, not the vision. Jesus.
Thank you.
The volume is, I knew it started with a V. Yeah.
And yeah, there you go. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. So
is Elaine okay? Is Elaine okay? I think Elaine's still okay. Like maybe like I'm not remembering it.
But I genuinely think that we might be dealing with a Supergirl because, although some people think, oh, this is the complete eraser of Snyderverse, some people think that no matter what, this is always going to be Snyderverse because the characters that he or the actors that he put onto these projects are always going to be there. Regardless, there was a loose thread in Man of Steel that had an open pod, and if you read the comic book that was attached to Man of Steel, it teased Supergirl. Here, although we never got to see Supergirl in the Snyderverse or in the main continuity of DCEU, this I think could very well be a new door to open to be like, hey, if Kal-El never became Superman, Supergirl would be forced to kind of pick up that mantle of being Earth's hero.
I do not think that is the way that they're going to go. Just because of the look of her. You were even talking about before we started recording about someone telling Tom Taylor he had no idea about what Injustice was, because Tom Taylor said shared the picture of
his creation, yeah,
but shared a picture of Sasha Calle as Supergirl, the one that Barbara Machete told everyone not to share. I guess he didn't get the memo on that, and shared it next to his creation of Laura Lane Kent, Supergirl from Injustice. And I mean, the similarities with the costume, the way the costume looks, there's a bit more rig going in the arms on Sasha Calle's version, but the way that the front is red with the emblem S is so, and she looks just like it's uncanny. So I really feel like this could be the universe where Injustice is ongoing, or this could be a universe where Superman has trained her, because it could very well be that too. So I just don't think that it's one where Superman never made it. I don't think that.
I will also, this is a completely different kind of whatchamacallit, design, but I still want to point you to it. There is also this recent design for who is now Superman. This is Jonathan Kent, the son of Kal-El. Without the arms being red, it could very much be an homage to the newer Superman suit. So, just throwing that out there as well. So I'm still excited to see her as Supergirl. But I wanted to point out, because I said I would, I love opinion pieces. It's why I listen to Ray's Flightcast every single time he puts out an episode. And I love solo cast because it's always impressive to me to see if anybody can actually keep a mono conversation going on a podcast. If you haven't, go check out Travis Snell on Geekverse. He spent a whole 30 minutes, I can't remember what it was, talking about this instance and all the conversations that went around it this weekend.
There's one thing he said in particular where it was like it's best for DC going forward for Michael Keaton be the Batman of this universe, and I'm just like, the dude's 69, going to be 70, over 70 before this movie is released.
That is something that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, Michael Keaton wants to be Batman for 10 years, and the last 20 years he has on this earth. So yeah, that
I will say, I have nothing against the people who love Michael Keaton.
I did.
That's like, hey, if you want him to be Batman, he's Batman. He reminds you every single
Batman. He's the OG.
He reminds you every single time he's in an interview talking about Batman. I did not grow up on him being Batman. Yeah, my dad showed me the movie several times as a kid. Didn't connect with me. Sorry. That just wasn't I was never a Batman fan. I didn't become a Batman fan until
you started reading all those comics. You're the biggest Batman comics fan I know.
I think when I started to really even delve into the character was, yes, I'm ignoring you for that comment, is possibly in high school, and it was very, very erratic as far as what I was reading. And then one of my best friends hosts a podcast called Batman News Weekly, and he didn't want to do the podcast by himself, so he asked me to co-host. And now I'm kind of forced to read Batman comics, even if I don't like them.
Yes.
And that has gotten me to know the character a little bit more. But I mean, to me, he is just as, simple as Deadman or Green Arrow or freaking just any Joe Schmo in the DCU. I know people love him, but he's just Batman. Like, he's just Batman. He's not like, oh my God, it's Batman. That's just not how I see the character. And I understand. DC is like, hey, this is our only character in the entire universe. I don't know anybody named Superman. I don't know anybody named Green Arrow. I don't know anybody named Aquaman. I don't know anybody named The Flash. I don't know anybody named Supergirl. I don't know who Wonder Woman is. I don't know who Blue Beetle is. I understand. DC doesn't like their characters. I understand that. But I'm just saying, if you love Keaton, you love Keaton. That's awesome. If you love Ben Affleck, you love Ben Affleck. If you love Pattinson, even though you haven't seen him as Batman, and you love him as Batman, great, you love him as Batman. My thing, and you already brought it up, is why get your hopes up of, oh, we're going to have a Batman as Nick Fury in the DCEU for like another 10 years. And I'm just like, does he even have another 10 years? Like, is he going to be on this earth for another 10 years? And I'm not saying that as like, I hope he dies. I'm knocking on wood right now. I'm just saying things happen. Why do you want to get your hopes up? Just so you can see him leave. Like, that's, for me, I would much rather, and I know that Snell was like, oh, you guys better be prepared. Ben Affleck might die. Ben Affleck might die. Okay, kill him. Kill him off. Like, do it quickly, or do it slowly, or, brutally murder him. I don't care. Like, if he wants out, let him out.
Well, he read the script and agreed to do it. So
yeah, he must like it, and that's awesome.
And whatever happens,
But for me, I always think that this whole idea that like Keaton as a like Nick Fury-esque character doesn't make any sense to me personally.
Yeah, Clay, you're not wrong, because like, why should he care about these people from all these other universes, unless there's an end of universe type thing coming?
Joe and Travis were like, well, you don't know, maybe they're gonna combine all the universes, and he's gonna have all the memories of every single Batman and everything else, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And if they are going to do that, then they need to convince me, not anybody else, because I don't care about anybody else's opinion when it comes to my thoughts on a movie. Like, I'm
just going to wait until we actually see it to see what actually happens. I don't know about Keaton. I just don't see why he would, especially with him doing the Vulture over in Marvel, and then going to be in Morbius. Like, I don't see him acting more. And yes, like Snell says, he's going to train her. Yeah, I really want to see
either Barbara or Terry or whoever that's going to be the true Batman.
You want to have a universe going like that with no actual Bruce Wayne in it. Yeah, that doesn't make financial sense to me. I've always thought that the biggest possibility is Flash will like do all the stuff, and he'll come back from his adventure and go to the Batcave, and Robert Pattinson will be Bruce Wayne instead of Ben Affleck.
I think that the indie snob likeness is probably like Pattinson, and he doesn't want to be a part of like a franchise, like a whole like universe. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but I don't see Pattinson as somebody who's like, yeah, let's go ahead and hang out with all these other people. Like, no, like he didn't do all of this indie work to be like, hey, I want to be able to spread the love and give everybody else a share of the money. No, he's gonna want to be Batman.
You're reducing Michael Keaton's iconic role of Bruce Wayne to just going and having like a end credit scene in a movie or two, or like people got to watch the the Member Berry episode of South Park, because it just seems like, let's throw out whatever we used to love and that's it. I'll take it. Give me more of it. I needed some coherent plan that makes sense. But
see, Snell, if for that statement, he can film a Nick Fury type scene in a week or two easy. Like, is that what you want though?
That character is not that level. That character's far higher than that.
This goes for the same for the Superman fans. Cavill could have just been the person to like inspire heroes, and he'd be at the end of like every individual like hero movie from here on out, trying to get a new Justice League going. Like, that's not something I would want. And I love Cavill as Superman. If that's the only way I'm going to get Cavill Superman, I would much rather him move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Clay.
Like, if he could be the next Bond, be the next Bond. Like, whatever. Another franchise can pick him up. Like,
I'm excited. Like, I want to preface this. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton back. I really am.
I'm really excited to see Alfred in the Batsuit. Yes.
Okay. No Michael Keaton slander, young man, young boy. Compared to you, definitely cannot be 34. That's for certain. I love Keaton's Batman, but Ben Affleck's Batman's my favorite. But I also loved Christian Bale. I also loved. I even really enjoyed Val Kilmer. I won't say love, but I really enjoyed Val Kilmer. George Clooney, on the other hand, yeah. Guy from Gotham, yeah. And same thing with animated. So I'm okay. I just don't see Keaton doing this for several years. I can see him coming back for this movie. Maybe another, maybe not. But the people, I know one thing: the person that said that he was signed on for multiple movies, and when the story first broke, immediately came out and said that wasn't the case. He was wrong there, but that didn't get the coverage or the play that everything else got.
Now, also, he was responding to you in regards of like being booked. That can make sense. Hines, you were or Snell, you were very much correct. He can easily go into a studio and be like, hey, I'm going to film this, and okay, let's go move back to our other projects. That is very much
what they're doing with Ben Affleck right now in this Flash movie. He's not there yet. He's going to show up and
then leave. Yeah, that's something that he could very much do. And also, when it comes to this idea of being a Nick Fury or even Old Man Bruce when it comes to Batman Beyond, if he is going to be the Old Man Bruce from Batman Beyond, okay, let's see him do that, right? Because even that old Bruce was not in great shape. He was hunching. He was always in the chair.
Oh, he was close to not gonna. Keaton's in far better shape than what.
And then of course you see the true ending of Batman Beyond in Justice League Unlimited, and he was really looking rough,
Yeah.
But again, this whole idea of like training Barbara or finding Terry, you really like even this whole Batman Beyond. This is a conversation that has been going on for years. I feel like ever since Batman Beyond ended, back in the early 2000s, like people were like, I want a Batman Beyond film. And then once we got the DCEU, you're like, there's no way we can't get a Batman Beyond film. Look visually what movies can do nowadays. I've always wanted a Batman Beyond video game, but that's just me. This, I feel like you have to tread it very lightly. I understand, like with the multiverse, you can kind of just do whatever, right? But I feel like that would solely be for fans, because nobody, and I mean nobody outside of like DC fandom knows anything about what possibly could be the future of Gotham in Batman Beyond.
They know Keaton, though, Clay. They
do know Keaton, and that will be the draw for sure, 100%.
He's got some bangers, including like that. It doesn't even have anything to do with comic book movies as well.
Yeah. Mr. Mom was great, but I'm joking. I love to harp on everybody in the GUA. Everybody knows this. Nathan thinks I'm very close to getting canceled by either the group or.
I want to say something about that. That was last night. I think if you're talking 1-2 is like Harlem Globetrotters and Washington Generals. Like Nathan made it seem like you two were linked in hands, skipping down the lane of almost being canceled.
I will be honest. No. That is simply because you don't know how our text conversations are.
Yeah. I'm talking about in actual publicly. No, I assume that. I'm just talking about actual being recorded. That's all. I was just talking about actual being recorded. You're pretty good then at not showing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Snell, that holy crap, you were digging for old rumors. He says there was a rumor before Batman Begins they were trying beyond live action with Clint Eastwood, but never went anywhere. I remember those rumors. Holy crap, I remember. And most recently last year, the huge rumor of them going Batman Beyond after Into the Spider-Verse, doing a animated movie and going that route,
Was
which
that
I would have.
I have a question, Clay. Was that one of the first? With the rumor Snell just shared, was that one of the first rumors that Grace ever put out? Because that sounds like a Grace ran off rumor.
It sounds crazy. It sounds absolutely insane, and it sounded insane when that rumor was going about.
Can you imagine?
Clint Eastwood.
Can you imagine the person coming into Clint Eastwood's office and pitching Clint Eastwood Batman Beyond?
Do you want to be Batman? Like, I feel like, don't get me wrong, I don't know how these conversations go, like, at all, but just imagine the people that they've actually gone to, like WB themselves, that we don't know of, saying, hey, do you want to be Batman? Like, just because they're hot shit in Hollywood at that moment, and they, like, imagine them going to Sylvester Stallone. Hey,
I don't think those I don't think they've done that stuff. I think you would have heard about that.
I know, but just imagine that conversation.
Yeah, I can, because I can imagine it, because Sylvester Stallone would have been Batman, because he would not have said no. He would have immediately said yes, because he would never got anything like that. I want to stick on this for just a second, because I think there is a way you can do this for me, and it works. And it's that Barry travels to Keaton's Earth. Keaton's despondent and kind of down in the dumps, and Barry inspires him. And after Barry leaves, Keaton finds Terry, and you can do Batman Beyond. Maybe I'll get on board, or even Batgirl. But I would like Batgirl being in the same universe. But you could do this separate on its own Earth of Keaton with a Terry. You could show that at the end of the movie, and like just him finding him, and then that could be its own HBO Max show or movie. You say you want to create a HBO Max show. They did say that, and they're in charge until at least another year or two. That they said they wanted to make HBO Max show with everything.
I feel like HBO Max show would be too limiting. Like, to be completely honest.
Really?
Oh yeah. I think it would be limiting. Just
Batman
because
Beyond, get 80 episodes about how terrible the future is, and
so the biggest thing about Batman Beyond is not only future Batman, but it's future Gotham. Future Gotham is its own character.
Yeah.
I think you need more than just a couple neon lights and like good lighting on a TV show to make a futuristic Gotham. Like, and I know I'm downplaying it, but I'm saying I think you need to put a bigger budget than just 60 million on a Batman Beyond.
Yeah, Clay, especially if you're using that set piece over and over again, that like in multiple episodes, that tag is not going to be nearly, the price is not nearly going to be. I don't know what universe Chris is on to watch that, but I'll watch it any day of the week. And
he said, "I'm down with a Bill Murray as Batman just as much as I'm down with seeing Nick Cage as Superman." So does that mean you really want to see Bill Murray as Batman, or you really don't want to see Nick Cage as Superman? And that's what I'm more curious about.
There you go. That's the question. That's the $1 million question. But yeah, I love the Supergirl look. I am excited for this. I can't wait, but I also want to see everything before, because they're not even finished filming yet. Before, let me see a teaser.
I will say something. Also, we stood a lot on this whole Keaton thing. How in the world did the CW make a better ring for Barry than this movie has already?
No. See, you're saying I want to call BS on you for that in the chat. You can't see that enough yet. Now, wait until you get an actual look at it, and then come at me.
That thing is freaking huge. That thing looks very cartoony.
Yeah, you're getting that out straight. Wait until we get an official look. That's all, because I thought you couldn't really see.
Is it gonna get smaller?
It
in the
could.
movie?
It could. There's no cape on Supergirl, but I somehow think she's going to have one of those in the movie.
She did have a cape. It was very blurry, but there was another picture of the cape. Frank Contreras says, I'm down for Supergirl to be the main Superman of the DCEU. That would be a really cool twist. Now, that was a heavy, heavy rumor when the first talks of a Supergirl movie coming into play. I am also okay with this.
Same.
Like I said, if that means Cavill is going to be treated nicely somewhere else, then let's do it. Let's 100% do it. I'm totally okay with that. Now, that is different than Keaton coming in as Batman. Just want to say that also. But this ring, dude, this ring is like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't care what kind of I think you need to film.
I want
You
to
really
say
do
that
need the film budget.
Disney Plus and Mandalorian both have established that you can have film budgets for your streaming service seasons too.
Yeah, you can, but this is also WB. And for
I
some
know.
reason, they're like, film budgets are for film, not for streaming. And they don't know how to legitimately give orders to individuals because they know they have power, but they're too stupid to know how much power they actually have. But I'm telling you, this ring looks ridiculous. Yeah, it's a fuzzy photo, but that thing looks like almost it's covering up almost 3 fingers.
I'll tell you the circumference of the circle looks huge, but like I said, maybe that's just something where when we actually see it, it's just a lightning bolt like it isn't in the Flash show. Who knows? I hope so, but it did. I agree, it didn't look good, but it's a faraway shot, and let me see what it looks like in post first when he uses it. You know, you're gonna get that in the trailer where he shoots at his suit from a ring. So I guess we'll take our second ad break, Clay.
Yes, our second ad break, and then we will get on to the final topic of tonight's episode. And then, of course, we have the comics corner right after that. So ready? We will be back in 3, 2, 1. And we are back. So the next bit of news that has hit the internet, which was absolutely amazing. Sandberg basically said, and I have the tweet out right now, he says, don't know how long we can keep these new suits from leaking. So here's a picture I took the other day. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Like, you gotta share that. You gotta share that.
This isn't just, I will say this isn't just like, hey, everybody got new suits. This is, hey, let me freaking show off this amazing new set photo of the Power Rangers movie. Holy shit. Like,
had to. Just Zachary Levi shared and laughed at that tweet already.
It is great.
It looks also, a lot better.
The best part, and I'm sorry, I am absolutely 100% sorry again. Like, I'm sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry. She no longer has a 5-movie contract with DC because we have the original actress for Mary Marvel playing Mary Marvel. Like, this is great. I absolutely love this. Now, some people are probably good. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm having the bad feeling already. Is some people have noticed that Mary has a little bit of a lighter complexion. Sandberg has already addressed this. Her makeup and look is to completely change the look of her in and out of costume, basically. I'm glad that she gets to play her Power Rangers wishes they could look this good. Hey, you just wait. Hasbro's going to be throwing out that money for this new movie that's going to be coming out in 2025. I'm sure of it. I'm placing it now. 2025 Power Rangers. They haven't announced it yet, but I'm telling you. Now, people say 2023. I don't think it's going to be that soon, but I think it's 2025. Anyway,
my God, how sad is it to be like this big of a Power Ranger fan? You're not getting any payoff right now. Like since 17, dude. That's rough.
It is, but I know that there's going to be like a slew of Power Rangers content coming out in the next few years.
Killing the comics too, so that's
yes, very much so. These suits look phenomenal on everybody.
Clay, there, I shared it with you in the chat. show the listeners, the viewers, the improvement from the old
Oh yes. So
casting to
let
the
me
other.
let me choose that photo really really quick. So this is something that was shared, like you said to me the other like a couple hours ago. This is a side by side from every single individual in their new costumes. Now I will say I did like the green on the old costume, and I kind of wish they could have kept a little bit of that brightness to the green, because this looks very much like a teal. It looks
Yeah,
very dimmed down. Uh, but I like I said, I still love all of it. The freaking lightning bolt on all of these guys. Now, Sandberg has also said it's not going to bright, it's not going to shine as brightly as the original did
yeah,
on everybody, but it will still shine. I feel like this will probably be a more aesthetically pleasing for like action figures, that it's just going to be like this small little light that comes on. I feel like that's like mainly the main reason why. But still, aesthetically, it looks gorgeous. It looks absolutely great. Look at the glow up on freaking oh shoot, what was her name? I can't remember the actress's name. Let me actually look that up really quickly.
look at
Uh,
the padding. There's no padding at all
yeah,
compared to the
no,
other one. It just looks night and day different, and it looks very good. So uh, I'm excited for this movie. Helen Mirren was showing her suit as well, which look,
Grace's face. And I saw this earlier today. They somebody shared like old photos of like when she was leading up to the filming of the original Shazam. Grace is just like a DC fan altogether. She was wearing Batgirl freaking shirts, Superman shirts, all this stuff on set. And then like her face in this new photo, she is grinning like from ear to ear. She is super excited about this movie, and it looks great.
I can't wait for this, Clay. I think, like I said, it looks stunning. I agree with you on the green. Agree with you there, but I'll trade that for the way these costumes look compared to the last ones.
Yeah, and I do apologize. I did cut you off. You were talking about Helen Mirren also got some
Yeah,
set photos that were leaked. A lot of people are commenting on the almost Greek, and I'm pretty sure she is playing a Greek goddess esque mythology character. I can't remember the character offhand, but it looks great. I will say the almost trident esque uh, uh, headpiece looks a little silly to me, but I'm sure it's going to look great on screen.
yeah, I think it's going to look solid, and we're sharing these. But Sandberg never asked us, or his sister never asked us to not share these pictures. So yeah, I think it looks cool, and I'm interested to see what she's going to have to do in this movie. Because
And the best part of the about this photo here of them eating, like it's clearly like you see the logo or the whatever it's called, the like of probably a restaurant that's in the movie.
yeah,
But just because of like the film itself and also these characters, you have no idea whether this is just them eating on their lunch
yes,
break or if
yes.
it's an
I
actual
was going to
scene.
mention that. I was going to mention that I
It's
didn't
great.
know that I didn't know.
Yeah, it is absolutely great. I'm super excited about Shazam Fury of the Gods. Super excited about how it's going to tie into Black Adam, because we all know that it's going to. Like, I'm sorry, that's just something that has to happen. Uh, but with that, we are going to jump into, because I will say, I do apologize. I did not ask for questions like I usually do this week, so I do apologize for not asking those. If you guys would like to send us questions to answer for next week's show, you know where to find us: DC Alliance on Twitter, Fanboy Clay on Twitter, as well as oh my gosh, I forgot your handle,
I'm on the
Heinz.
screen. I'm on the screen. I'm on the
Travis
screen.
see for some reason I thought you had your last name in there. Travis underscore 156. So let's go ahead and jump into quite possibly one of the best Nightwing stories that I have ever read.
I'm reading for the first time, listeners, by the way, and I could not be more impressed with the first.
This book was a trip for when I first read this. I actually own every single issue as well as the trade for this book. I jumped on it clearly just for Kyle Higgins. He, of course, at this time was writing he had just left Power Rangers. I can't remember around what time this came out. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us in the chat.
Thanks,
and of
Chris.
course, we will see you later tonight in the GUA chat. Nightwing #1, A New Order. This is what won the vote. I believe this is one of 6, so we're going to be reading this for the next 6 weeks. And my gosh, Travis, you are not ready.
No, I'm not.
You are not
First issue
ready.
was fantastic, Clay. Fantastic. I'm ready to talk about that.
So not only was just the first issue overall, dude, this opening scene, we see Nightwing kind of waking up. He's disoriented. He's holding this giant thing in his hands. You don't know what it is, whether it's a weapon or whatnot. And somebody is calling him by name, not by Nightwing, but by his real name. We flip the page, and it's a bloody, beaten up Superman. And he is saying, "What did you do?" And Nightwing says, "I'm sorry, Clark. I had to save the world." And we just see Metropolis in shambles. Not only do we see Metropolis in shambles, we see Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Robin, Lex Luthor, Doomsday, Cheetah, and freaking oh my gosh,
I can't see him there.
the freaking, I can't remember his name.
Captain
Cold. Yeah, sorry. We also see Captain Cold in the rubble of Metropolis. So this story is basically what we come to find out, because we see a much older Dick Grayson running after a much older Dr. Light. Of course, Dr. Light is very famously a Teen Titans or even a Titans villain. He was a Justice League villain for a very big story called Identity Crisis. If you guys have not read that, I highly recommend you read it. Or I could possibly put it in we should cover it here on freaking DC Alliance. It is very, very heavy-handed, and it may not be entirely safe to share like we do here on the actual live, but we should definitely talk about that book sooner rather than later. But we see all sorts of stuff. Like we see a Dick Grayson as Dick Grayson, not as a Nightwing chasing after Dr. Light, as well as these people in what look like Batman mechanized suits chasing after him. He is a criminal, and they are shooting him up with inhibitor meds, and he is not liking it whatsoever. We're slowly getting information that Dick Grayson is the head of this group called the Crusaders, and that he is basically, I don't know if he's the chief. I'm pretty sure he's the chief of police here.
He seems like he's in charge.
Yeah, he is definitely in charge here. We're seeing some more characters play along with the aesthetic of like the GCPD in this area, and he's learning over the news that a facility that makes the inhibitor meds got ransacked, and so it seems like they kind of know who might have done it, but they're not entirely sure. We do learn about that later in this issue, and we get a narration throughout the entire book, and we don't know exactly who it is until now, which is Dick Grayson's son, Jake.
Yes.
And we also get to see Alfred. But who are we not seeing? Bruce Wayne. We soon find out that Bruce Wayne died, assumingly in that fight that we saw in the very beginning of this issue. And that has caused people of the superhero genre to lose their powers. Now, not everybody has lost their powers. Clearly, we saw Dr. Light have his powers, but majority of the superheroes are no longer super. And Alfred here, he is out of the manor. He's not living in the manor anymore. He's retired. He's just in Gotham for a few days.
Living in Phoenix or Arizona, I think.
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona. And he's only in Gotham for a couple days, but he has to sign some paperwork for the museum that they're going to be running for either the Manor or Wayne Enterprises. I'm not entirely sure. But they're having this conversation, and Alfred doesn't seem to be on Dick Grayson's side when it comes to this more political conversation that they're having about superheroes and vigilantes and whatnot, which is very odd. We always know Alfred to be one, especially with Dick Grayson, to be very fatherly. And not to say that he is actually arguing, but just, hey,
He usually blindly supports what Dick does, but not here at all.
Yeah, not at all. But we see this conversation with Jake and Dick Grayson as well. He's starting to ask questions like, hey, why did you quit being Nightwing? What happened? And Dick is kind of being standoffish. He's not really giving an answer to Jake at all. But we do get to see that facility that was ransacked, and they were able to stop some footage and get a picture. And all we see is this yellow blur or a yellow streak of possibly lightning. And they name drop Wally West.
Yes.
So it looks like Wally West has not lost his powers, and quite possibly a part of some sort of resistance, because he is destroying these inhibitor meds, which I think was very, very interesting.
Something tells me a lot of his old Titan pals are not going to be too thrilled with.
I know exactly what's going to happen. Now, I will say there are some things that I can't quite remember, but I'm interested to see who all is in that group that you're assuming will not be so happy that this is the path that Dick Grayson took. But Dick Grayson does get a phone call. He goes to Jake's school, and there was a name drop. Well, there wasn't a name drop per se, but there was a conversation about Jake's mother.
Yeah.
So everybody could assume a number of people.
Two, in my opinion, not a number.
Yeah, two, but also Dick Grayson has been known to get around. So who knows who could have been? It could have been even somebody from not continuity of comics. Who knows? But with the conversation of Jake and Dick Grayson the night before, Jake did say, "Oh, so you hurt my mother that day," when he talking about the day of Metropolis. So it might have laid out a little bit more of a hint, but we see the reason why Dick was called was because Jake is actually a mutant. He's a metahuman. And of course, if he's a metahuman, that can only assume one person being Starfire.
Yes.
This is kind of crazy. He is the head of somebody who had created inhibitor medication for metahumans, and now his son is a metahuman himself, and he reacted not in the greatest way. In being a supportive father, he said, "Oh no."
Yeah, but even Clay, I have a question, because Starfire is not a metahuman; she's an alien. So will he do the same thing, give her an inhibitor, or will he send her back to her planet?
I don't know.
Yes, you do know, but you're not telling me.
Well, if she's an alien and they had an offspring that very much looks like they're human, does that mean inhibitors would necessarily work?
I have no idea.
Because it's a part of the DNA, And I guess you can kind of say that, there are some metahumans that were born that way. So maybe that is the loophole, but we will surely find out soon enough. The next issue is Like Mother, Like Son. That was a great first issue. I
That was
remember
amazing first issue.
when I first picked up this book, was seeing the way the first issue's cover looked and everything else. I was like, what in the world is going on with this Nightwing book? It looks very propaganda-ish. And throughout reading that first issue, you kind of see why. But like really diving into this world is very, very strange. You always get those Elseworld stories, and this is, I will say, probably one of my favorites.
I can't wait for next week for us to get into the next episode. I can always say episode, always instead of issue, but you know what I mean. I'm really excited. I want to see what happened to Batman. I want to see his mother and Steven Starfire. Which there's so much else.
I want to see who
what happened.
survived.
I want to see what happened on that fateful day. How he took all the powers away. I want to see.
Yeah.
So excited to see 6 issues. Glad this won out, listeners. So can't wait to talk about it again next week.
Yep. But with that, guys, that is a wrap on this episode. Really great stuff this week. Can't wait to see what drops on next Monday. But with that, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next week.
See you, everyone.